Hey guys, this is the Kentucky Fathers Podcast. I had to put something out. I don't put very much out on this podcast. I usually just post things on our Facebook page, Kentucky Fathers. So if you really want to keep up with some of my thoughts on Kentucky Fathers, on fathers in general, and fatherhood, then go to the Facebook page, Kentucky Fathers. And also, please like this podcast. I do promise to start being much more consistent, productive in doing podcasts for this, in doing shows, thoughts, commentary, whatever, for this podcast. And I wanted to do this one on, it's going to be short, on parental alienation. Whenever you get a chance, go to YouTube and put in the search engine parental alienation. That is a very, very serious problem that most times, not all the time, a good many times, but not always, fathers, when they divorce, they experience either a mild form of parental alienation or a very severe form of parental alienation. And as you might imagine, CPS and social workers and family court judges, they could care less. They're already hostile to fathers and the whole concept of fatherhood. And parental alienation feeds right into that. And parental alienation is basically where the parent, usually the mother, who has physical custody, will interfere and attempt to either damage or sever the relationship between the father and his children. And it's really, when it all comes right down to it, emotional abuse. It's emotionally abusive towards the child, and it's emotionally abusive towards the father. This is something I did experience. I'll never forget. I used to post a lot on the Kentucky Fathers page, talk a lot of videos on parental alienation. And my wife had remarried, and we were she had sort of geared up her parental alienation to a whole new level. And it got to the point to where not only was she successful in encouraging my daughter not to communicate with me anymore or spend time with me anymore, but she herself refused to talk to me about my daughter, about our daughter. The only person who would talk to me was her ex-husband. He is now recently deceased, and good guy. He was a good guy. We had some good conversations, and I remember him saying to me at one time. He said, we never told Sarah, my daughter, the child I had with my ex-wife. We never told Sarah not to communicate with you. So that clearly indicated to me, hey, they're watching the videos. So guys, when you send them letters and when you put things up on social media, trust me, they're looking at it. They're checking it out. Other guys have told me the same thing. He said, oh no, you better believe they're checking it out. And you better believe they're giving it some thought and consideration. And another person indicated to me, they said, yeah, I think your daughter, actually several people have said this to me. He said, there's no doubt in their minds that my daughter is a victim of parental alienation, and I'm a victim. They said there's no doubt about it in their minds, and their hope and prayer is that over time my daughter will come around and communicate with me, her father. Guys, here's some things I want to share with you. When you start experiencing parental alienation, here is some things you should do and you shouldn't do. What you shouldn't do is suddenly try to demand sole custody. I never demanded sole custody. I wanted joint custody. I never tried to get sole custody. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because my daughter and I reached that agreement. She said, Daddy, I want to live with Mama and her sister, and I want to see you as often as possible. I want to know when I'm going to be able to see you. And I said, baby, that's fine with me. I have no problem with that. But her mother obviously did have a problem with it after after some time. Don't go for sole custody. Secondly, always demand and push for family counseling and individual counseling for the alienated children. Guys, don't be scared of counseling. There was a social worker that got involved with my case, and this moron started lecturing me about how valuable she sees counseling. And I stopped her and I said, why do you assume that I don't think that counseling is important and very valuable? All throughout my conflict with my ex-wife, I was pushing, demanding family counseling. I had no problem with it whatsoever. None. And when I had joint custody, I put my daughter in counseling. You better believe I did it. And the counselor was she said, I'm glad you're doing this. This is very important. It's important for your daughter. It's important for your relationship with your daughter. And but my ex-wife consistently, and sometimes very viciously, she was opposed to family counseling. Very much opposed to it. That's a clear indication of parental alienation. I don't care what anyone says. If you look at it, it's parental alienation. If you objectively look at it, that's a manifestation of parental alienation. She doesn't want the alienating parent. They don't want people to come together and sit down and resolve their differences and share their feelings and thoughts and stuff. They don't want that. They don't want reconciliation. They want you away from your children. Guys, push for it. Push for it, push for it. And if they say to you, well, if you think counseling is so important, you go into individual counseling. And your response should be, you better believe I will. And go into it immediately. That's what I did. Not once, but twice. So go for a family counseling. Always push for that. And here's the third thing. Never put the alienating parent down before your child. Don't you do to them what the alienating parent is doing to them. That alienating parent, and many times her friends, they're putting you down. They're criticizing you. And a lot of times that criticism is just a flat-out lie. My daughter told me some things some of my ex-wife's friends and some of the things they said to her about me. And I said to her, she refused to give me their names, but I suspect I know who they are. But I said to her, well, Sarah, the next time they talk badly about your father in front of you, you tell them, hey, you need to go take that up with my daddy. You go talk to him face to face. Not once did those cowards say anything to my face. But you don't do that. I don't care what that ex says about you to your child. You don't respond by saying, well, let me tell you about your mama. No, you don't do that. You just say, baby, I'm sorry that you had to hear something like that. But I tell you what, please ask your mama and her friends that the next time they have something negative or nasty to say about me, that they need to come directly to me and say it, because you don't want to get in the middle of it. And that's it. And you never retaliate by saying, again, let me emphasize this. Oh, your mama said this about me? Well, let me tell you what your mama did. No, never. Just leave that alone. Don't go there. Don't go there. So I just wanted to say that real quick about parental alienation and fatherhood. And also just want to let you guys know, hey, I'm going to be more consistent in getting things out, things out to you and getting some good interviews for you.